Hello there, Alaskans, wherever you are. Welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show. Coming to you from somewhere in Alaska. This is the place where we talk about, you guessed it, Alaska. Where we keep the mainstream media on their toes and where we are standing up for what's right in a world run by leftists. You can find out more by heading over to mustreadalaska.com and also checking out the Must Read Alaska YouTube channel for some really great content. But first, let's get this party started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the Must Read Alaska Show, the Friday edition. I'm your host, James Baisden, coming to you from somewhere in Alaska. Hey, that somewhere today is the virtual studios here in Kenai, the place that I call home. Thanks for joining us. We have this podcast that we put out about 3 times a week. I get to do the Friday edition of it, which is fun. I get to wrap up the week with all the great stories that have been on the website. If you haven't been to the website lately of Must Read Alaska, we ask that you go there and join us. That's the place that you can find all the great content that Suzanne Downing has worked on. Of course, the podcast that we put out weekly with Suzanne and John Quick and myself. That's how we get the news out and we keep you engaged. So we need your support. Please donate if you get a chance. And we do have a sponsor for this week, and that is Charlie Pierce for Governor. Thank you for that sponsorship, Charlie Pierce for Governor. We greatly appreciate that. Wow, lots of stuff happening this week. It's going to be a fun and interesting show. So sit back as we get to the topics. And again, thank you for joining us. Let's have fun today. So, wow, one of the big stories that hit this week is Elon Musk's offer to buy Twitter. For $43 billion. He wants to transfer Twitter into a private company. For him, it sounds like it's about freedom of speech, which I don't disagree. He has offered the shareholders of Twitter a share of $54.20 per share, which is a huge uptick of what it is actually valued at. I think that's the way he's put it, it's about a 54% premium. I hope that Elon Musk can make this happen, because you can tell what he is trying to do is that he's trying to put all the social medias on notice, and that notice is that you have basically fact checked and stopped free speech to about and limited politicians and government people who are running, those who want to get their message out. Basically, if you disagree with it, it becomes fake news and they cut you off, or they say it's disinformation. It's all a bunch of BS. And I think this is the first thing that hopefully happens, especially with the election that's going to take place this year. He knows that there needs to be a platform out there where people can get their message out. Because the way they do all the data and how they allow things to be seen and not seen and controlled, it works to their advantage. And when I'm talking about their advantage, I'm talking about the left's advantage. It does not work to the right. I mean, even this week, I was listening to one of our main radio programs here in the state, and because they hosted the wrong person that said the wrong thing on air, they were put in basically jail, and it was Google that basically gave them a 24-hour notice and shut their show down and gave them a warning. And if they were to do it again, they could go to 30 days and then be banned completely, because again, they don't agree with somebody putting out information. That's not what this is about. And everybody says that all these private companies, they get to do what they want to. Well, we're dealing with the public square now. This is how we get information out. Look, this is a perfect example of Must Read Alaska. We play on the same platforms. If we were to say something wrong that they did not that they disagreed with, they could ban us from their media, and it would hurt the information that we get out to Alaskans. So I hope that everything that Elon Musk is trying to do, I hope it shakes it up. It needs to be shaken up. Look, there's lots of media out there now. If you think about it, you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, you've got Getter, you've got the new platform that the president put out, Truth Social. So it's There are different platforms out there, but those big platforms that have the market share and where everybody goes to needs to be free speech. If there's threatening, hateful speech, that's one thing, but just because you disagree with it, it should not be silenced. It should not be shadow banned. It should not be pushed to the background to where the people that you want to see it can't see it. And I think this is the first step. Great for Elon Musk. I support what he's trying to do. I hope it works out. I have reestablished my Twitter account just so I can see how this turns out, and it's going to be fun to watch here over the next month or two to see whether this hostile takeover takes place. Okay, Alaskans, let's go back and review what took place here a few weeks ago with the election in Anchorage and how everybody was so excited because the election was going to flip, and Anchorage, basically the assembly and the school district, were going to defeat a lot of the people who were in power, to change it and flip it to a more conservative setting in Anchorage. Well, how did that work out? Didn't work out very well, did it? Looks like the mayor does not have much help when it comes to the assembly, and the school district basically stayed the same. So for all of you out there, I want you to use this as a litmus test to what I think is going to happen here in the major elections when we start looking at the state level and federal elections. Again, everybody says, oh, it can't happen, that this is going to be the year when changes take place, because it's so awful. But it's so awful that nobody, for some reason, is getting out and voting when it comes to the conservative side of the election. So either everybody loves the status quo, they love the continued fight when it comes to what took place here over the last year. Taxes are going to continue to increase. We're printing money that we don't have at all levels. The federal government is pushing money down that they don't have. That's why we see inflation. The state is going to spend. So here we got the Alaska Senate and House, who has majority of what they call themselves conservative. Their budget, they're going to blow it up this year because they have so much extra money to spend when it comes to the increased oil production and the cost of a barrel of oil and all the federal money they're coming in. I mean, it looks like, and I know that this number isn't even right, but $7 billion is what roughly the budget's going to be this year. And we look at all the other things that they put into the budget. I've heard a number of $12 billion. So again, our conservative group, who, again, they're going to blame it. Oh, we don't have the majority and we can't do this and we can't do that. Please come back and elect me because you need me there. But that voice is not working very well for us. The PFD has taken all the air out of the room when it comes to state politics. And for whatever reason, why is that now the main political talking point? Is because they're pandering to everybody to get you to elect them. I will protect and save your PFD. That's the number one thing. Well, how's that worked for the last 6 years? Not worked very well, right? And you're going to elect those same people and send them back. If that's your main issue, you need to fix it. You need to get somebody down there. You need to get the majority in place that can fix it. We're going into this ranked choice voting when it comes to the state level and when it comes to the federal level. And already I can see, if you're a conservative, you're a Republican, you have two or three of the candidates there, they're going to split the votes. What's that going to do? That's going to allow the left to get their candidate in there because they're going to stick together. They're very smart. You guys are going to beat each other up over the election, and you're going to take votes from each other. It's going to happen at all levels of government. You wait. I've got predictions here on what I think. You think the incumbents are going to go down big? I don't think so, because this ranked choice voting is going to work into the hands of those who wanted it, and we're going to see it play out big time here in the state of Alaska. So get ready, put your seatbelts on, because I don't see this thing changing, and it should change. In this environment, one of the worst environments that we've had with inflation, something tells me that Alaska is going to be status quo for the next couple of years, because I don't think that we can get the people out there engaged on the right and get them out there to fight every day. So it's up to you to make sure this happens if you want to change. Right now, I'm betting against it. I don't feel confident that we're going to be able to get out there and make a big difference when it comes to the state and federal elections. Hope I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. Well, I've got to say, there's a couple governors that I love out there on the national level, and one of them is from that second smallest state in the country after Alaska, and that is Texas, and Governor Greg Abbott. Have you been watching what he's been doing here over the last week or so? He has put the president and the administration on notice that they're going to start, and they have started, transporting illegals from Texas to Washington, D.C. and other places. I was looking at the letter that he put out here to his Division of Emergency Management, directing them to voluntarily transport and coordinate the migration of illegal aliens that are coming in. He's going to start shipping them out to other locations, and specifically dropped them off right in front of the White House here over the last couple days. In his letter, basically, the president is ending the Title 42 expulsions, which is going to allow, in the governor's words here, of about 18,000 migrants per day are going to start coming across his border there in Texas. So they're under attack, absolutely under attack. And again, this is one of those things that you look at the secret planes that the president and his administration has put in, to where they've been taking illegals and dropping them off at lots of different places throughout the country. Well, Governor Abbott is going to put it on those in Washington, D.C. He's going to start dropping them off there. And again, this is a mess. This is one of those things that here we are. We talk about protecting borders in other places of the world, and we can't even protect our own border. We have a legal process that we bring people in, and we can make it legally and document them. We need people to come over here and help and work and do the jobs that a lot of Americans no longer do, and we can do it in a safe manner. But this is out of control, and it's going to continue to be out of control until we get the right people in place. And thank you, Governor Abbott. I think this is a great way to bring attention to it. Keep it up, and I guess probably you need to start picking some of the probably the Speaker of the House and start dropping them off at her doorstep too. Probably be a great place to do it. President Biden. Looks like President Biden's approval rating is crashing. It looks like it continues to go down every week. I can't understand why. Why isn't President loved by everyone? I mean, even just this week, let's see, what did he attack? He attacked the Second Amendment, the so-called shadow guns that he wants to put the ATF on and limit to make sure that you can't buy pieces and parts for guns that you may assemble. For some reason, the president now can write laws. I wonder if that has anything to do with his approval rating, or could it be that again his administration just extended the mask mandate on travel, which I think he should keep on until the election. I think that he is smart to keep this travel ban on when it comes to masking, because the people love it. They know that it's working. Of course, if you want to come across the border illegally, which is taking place, he just eliminated lifted the Title 42 at the border, to where that was basically to tell everybody that the pandemic is over. At least it's over for illegals, and as many can come across as they want to, and we don't have to worry about the pandemic at the border. But for some reason, for us Americans traveling, it's still important to keep us kind of locked down and make sure that we understand that they have the power. And that's why we have to wear the silly masks that do nothing for us, that science shows has not done anything to help the pandemic over the last 2 years. So I hope that he keeps it on. Something tells me that that will just make it that much better for the political process. And of course, I'm being facetious, because it seems like everywhere you turn, that what the president has done to us over the last year, when it comes to how he's handled the crisis. Now you see constantly every left-leaning news agency basically blaming the inflation on what's going on with the situation overseas. And of course, it does not have anything at all dealing with what's going on over there. The inflation started at least a year ago. You look at gas prices, you look at food prices skyrocketing. So that person making that $15 living wage, how's that working for you now? It seems like they have taken everything away from you that you wanted, because the inflation is a tax, and it's a tax pretty much that hits the lowest wage earners the worst. When you go out to your fast food restaurants now, you go out to your gas station, you're paying for it. You're getting what you wanted to in this administration, and they're going to blame everybody else. They're not going to blame themselves for what they've done, specifically what they did when it comes to shutting down our country as being one of um, the best places to go to produce oil and gas, to do it safely, to do it environmentally friendly. We stopped all those processes. He attacked that, and from that point on is whenever this started. And he's completely to blame for it. And you know what? For the conservatives out there, I want you to take notice, because if you don't show up at the polls this year and work hard to get other people elected, the status quo is going to stay there. And I'm going to talk about that in the next section with what happened here just recently in this state with the Anchorage election. And you should be put on notice right now. What you're seeing at the federal level, it's going to continue, because most of you who need to get engaged are staying on the sidelines, and you need to make sure that you get your friends out there to vote. Okay, so in this section, I want to talk about the Second Amendment and what has taken place at the federal level when it comes to the banning of certain types of guns. And I want to go back just really quick and talk about the Bill of Rights and the first 10 amendments. And amendment number 2 is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It is one of the amendments that says it shall not be infringed. So the Second Amendment is one of the big items that seems to get noticed every year, specifically whenever we change administrations. Those that are opposed to gun laws and want to see guns removed from American citizens. President Biden is banning homemade 3D made guns with wide ranging rule that will impact hobby gun makers. So ghost guns, 3D guns, the type of guns that you legally have the right to make in your home to protect your family, is what they're going to start attacking. The president has announced his new nomination for ATF. Steve Dettelbach, coming out of Ohio, is absolutely he's been an advocate for reinstating the ban on assault weapons and Brady registration. Absolutely wants to take our right to bear arms away from our American citizens, and that is why the president has nominated him to fill the ATF. Suzanne Downing has a great article here on Must Read Alaska dealing with this issue. But again, so privately made guns, what he's looking for is they need to be federally tracked. He wants serial numbers on everything. He's going to put a lot of the work on to those who may purchase these. If you come into a pawn shop, you're going to have to keep records pretty much that are for the rest of probably the life of the business, and then transfer those records to the federal government if there's anything that comes through your hands. About 90% of all firearms in the United States would have to have a serial number on them. And again, why do we worry about this? Well, you know what? For me, I just look at what's going on in the other part of the world right now. Take an example of Ukraine. Why is it important for Americans to have weapons? They said, you know what? You shouldn't have weapons that are military style. Well, you know what? Yes, we should. And there is a reason for that, because we at some point in this country are going to have to defend ourselves. I absolutely believe that. And that's why it's important. It's not just about me having the proper type of rifle to go out and hunt, me having a handgun to protect myself from a bear. It's also to protect myself from those who may want to do me harm in the government that could come from other governments that also want to do harm to this country. And that is why Americans have this freedom, and we need to make sure we maintain it. Every time it is under attack, we need to make sure that we fight back. Very important. Go to the website, look at what Suzanne Downing has here. It's a great article that she has on what the president wants to do to infringe on your Second Amendment. and be wary. They're always going to try to take your rights away. That is what government does. It wouldn't be the Friday edition of the Must Read Alaska show without the mandate freedom section. And I'm going to fall back to one of the articles on Must Read Alaska dealing with the CDC and the mandate for travel. And again, here we are. You remember just 2 years ago, whenever we were just going to mask up for 2 weeks to stop the spread. Well, now we're just here for 2 more weeks because there's that other variant that we have to keep everybody masked on airlines and buses and traveling. And of course, everybody knows this is foolish. The airlines are getting beat up over it. Can you imagine what it's like to be a flight attendant and having to deal with the nonsense that's taken place? The airlines have asked for it to go away. The federal government basically has moved it from everywhere else except for travel. And it's just it's just a ploy for control. It has nothing to do with scientific facts anymore, dealing with masking. And for those individuals who still want to wear a mask, you can wear it. Quite a few of you probably will when you get on a plane because it makes you feel safe. You have been brought into the conditioning that the mask is what's going to prevent everything, and we know that. All you have to do is look around in Washington D.C. 18 in the inner circle of the president and the speaker had COVID just this week, but what they're reporting on, none of it was serious, even though they tested positive. Nobody went to the hospital, no hospitalizations, and that's typically what we're seeing across the country. Here in Alaska, you see the numbers are plummeting. Hospitals basically have almost zero COVID patients, and there's a couple reasons. Either it's because of the 60 plus people who have been vaccinated, the other percentage of the people who actually have received COVID, including those who have been vaccinated. So the variants aren't going to be that difficult to overcome, and masking is not having any effects on it. I just think it's funny to continue to watch this mask mandate. So I was hoping that by the time we got to this section that we would say that the CDC and the TSA has removed it. They have extended it for another 2 weeks, which has a lot of people on the left even freaking out. They're like, 2 weeks? We're going to die if you lift it within 2 weeks. And we're going to just watch how it plays out. But I expect 2 weeks from now, it'll get extended again. They cannot lift it. And if you're political minded like me, it's going to hurt those who support this mask mandate going forward. It's always good to end on a positive note, and to end the Must Read Alaska show this week, have to remember that we are fortunate for those of us who live in this great state of Alaska, that we get to raise our family in a beautiful state. The weather is changing, of course, drastically on us. Springtime is here. We're starting to see the grass, and things will be greening up soon for us. Easter is here, so we need to count our blessings. And even though even in this world of the political turmoil that we have, a lot of us, especially Americans, we agree on most things. It's the smaller details that we disagree on, and that's where we need to have the political discussion and have the discussion. And I guess what I hope is that at the end of the day, we do what's best for our country and our state, and we want to leave this place better than we found it and have a place for our families to be successful. So again, happy Easter. I am your host, James Baisden. Again, please join us at the mustreadalaska.com website. Donate if you get a chance. We thank our sponsor, Charlie Pierce for Governor. And everybody have a great weekend.